Hello and welcome to Mitch's mic number 8, where it's been a month. Oops. I have been insanely busy. Does that mean the podcast is ending? No. It just took a little break for a bit there. I think I needed it just to kind of get life into perspective a bit, and then we hop back into it. That's all. So news first, we have officially been submitted for review on iTunes. So that's pretty cool. They haven't done anything else yet. It's been probably 5 days since I submitted it. So we'll see. I'm sure it'll take, I don't see why not. The other news, I guess, is I'm going to be adding probably dream pod segments. I know a lot of people aren't big into listening to other people's dreams, but I know some people are into it. So it'll just kind of be sporadic whenever I kind of feel it. I had one I was going to talk about, decided to opt out of that one this time. So it is what it is. But whenever I find one that's interesting, whenever I have one that's interesting, I might as well, because I talked about one, I think, in the last one. So we'll be doing that. So new stuff in the works. ASMR review, the Podcomic. The Podcomic, I'm kind of figuring out where I'm going to take it. I don't want to make something I'm not proud of. That doesn't mean it has to be perfect, but the setting up and execution of it needs to feel good to me. And if it's not where I want it to be, then it's not going to be, I'm not going to release it. I'm just not going to release it. I've already recorded like 2 things and have been through like 3 scripts and been like, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. So when I do release something, it'll at least be along the path that I want it to go, even if it doesn't maybe feel great to the listener or whatever. I'm sure it will, but I'm trying to take it in. I think I'm going to do like a Pulp Fiction-y kind of a back and forth where I'm going to swap between a couple characters, because I want a couple main characters in this story so you can get perspectives on everybody, because that's just kind of how my mind works anyway, is if you're hearing a story, hear it from multiple angles. Don't just hear it from one. So I kind of want the whole Podcomic thing to still encapsulate my mentality on how I look at the world and how I like stories to be told. Not that Quentin Tarantino really is maybe the best mirror for my mentality, but definitely the way he did Pulp Fiction I think was really cool. But I'm going to be doing it in more of like, you're going to see the good guy, the bad guy, the points of conflict and interest. You'll be seeing everything of. So we'll get there. We'll get there. I've had this idea for a very long time. I wanted to make it either a D&D campaign or a book or whatever. And this just seems to be the perfect fit. I'm sure I've talked about that before, but I don't remember. So what's been going on with me is a lot of work. A lot of work. Incredible stress, but also not. As far as like the work that I've been doing, I'm now working multiple jobs, but mentality is really half of it. Like if you go into the job going like, oh, this is going to suck, then it's going to suck. But if you go in going, I'm going to be a manager one day, I need to figure out how to do all this stuff, then you, it kind of opens it up a bit. In your mind, especially if you go into it, like physically, you're going into work thinking these things. It will help you out, whether you either make that management position or whether they let you go eventually. If you have that mentality and you want it, you will find your spot eventually. It's still going to be a learning experience one way or the other. I don't think I'm going to lose this job, but in the scenario of what if. So yeah, it is a lot of stress, and I've been trying to figure out how to deal with that, because it's the first time I've had to work multiple jobs, really. I've had like full-time positions and worked multiple jobs, but nothing like where both jobs want like 30 hours from me, which the one doesn't, but typically wants like 20-ish, and then the other wants like 40. So on average, right, each job wants like 30. So that's a little rough. Plus, I've been wanting to do this, so all my hobbies as well, and then also keeping a social life, which is basically not non-existent right now because I am on Discord and stuff, but as far as getting out and going places, not really, especially for a DM, like somebody who wants to be out like playing games with people, like, and I just can't right now because I want to be doing this mainly. And we're going to bring up a couple other things that I've been doing too, which also get in the way of these things. So it's like I don't want to have the time to do it at the moment because I want to work, but also take care of myself while doing it. That kind of leaves out social stuff, although I am doing some social stuff. But again, there's some things to not peek behind the curtain about, and right now is not the time. So we'll talk about that at some point, but just not right now. So something I've been doing is, this is going to sound weird, really hang in there with me for a second. Take the time to date yourself. Now that sounds dumb, but really have a night where you spend time just having fun on your own, like just being honest with yourself. What makes you happy? What makes you have fun? What lets you have fun? Whatever you like doing, but by yourself. Try to have the most fun as possible alone. Nurture your needs and wants by yourself. Really try to love spending time with you, because if you can do that, you're starting to figure out at least who you are, because you're figuring out what your needs are, what your wants are, what you can do for yourself to make yourself better as far as nurturing yourself goes. It's like crazy important. Like I just started doing it, and I'll do it like once every 2 weeks, right? I know somebody who does it like once a week. It depends on your needs and wants. I might have to do it once a week. Maybe that's my like reprieve, right? I don't think I want to do it once a week. Once every 2 weeks seems good for me, at least for right now. Also going to therapy, so that helps me too. But yeah, spend time with yourself. It's the strangest thing, but like actually, if you're a big gamer, you're big into social media or whatever, turn it off. Turn it all off. Just take your shit and put it somewhere else, and just really, like, if you want to spend time, like, I'll explain like what I do, right? Things I thoroughly enjoy, right? I enjoy watching certain animes. I used to enjoy reading a lot, so I've been doing that on those days. I've been just kind of, every now and again, I'll just kind of, when I do this, I will usually start off by taking like a 20 or 30 minute, like this power nap / meditation kind of a deal, where it's like 20 or 30 minutes. I have my headphones on, usually with like low music or like ASMR going, and I'll just like lay down in my bed for like 20, 30 minutes and just kind of hang out, because I love sleeping, right? So I'm like, let's just get a little bit of that in there. So I'll do that. I'll have like some ice cream. I'll like hang out, watch something, right? And then anything that makes me feel good. So I'll like sit down and start writing on the Podcomic, and it's like, oh, but that's work. But it's something I really like doing. Like it's not work, because it's something that's in my mind that I want out, and I want it out, and I need it out. So it feels good to do. Like, it almost sounds counterproductive, because it's like, well, you're working. It's like, yeah, but on a hobby. Like, that's a hobby to me. So for some people, that would be playing music. I have done that a little bit while starting this dating yourself. I've only done like 2-3 nights of it. So these are just like small examples of somebody who's just starting to do this in the beginning. But I think it really helps you solidify who you are and what your interests are. Because for a long time, for me, it's just kind of been playing video games with my friends, which is fine. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But I was doing it so much to the point where it felt like, and I still do it too much, to the point where it feels like I'm accomplishing something, because your brain tricks yourself into going like, you sunk a lot of time into this. That means it's a thing you did. Good job. No, it's not productive. The only way it's productive is if you are streaming, you are creating content with it, you are doing something with it other than just playing games with your friends. Now, let me back up and completely contradict myself. Having those moments of where you're just stupid, silly, distracting yourself, playing with your friends is awesome. That is such a good thing for you to do. Remove the games aspect, right? If you like to go out with people, hang out at a mall, or you like to go out and drink, right? Go bar hopping, whatever. It's like, that is your distraction and stupid, silly time, right? Everybody needs that. But I'm talking more of what makes you happy alone. So the first night I played a little bit of Overwatch by myself, but it was kind of missing the mark, because I'm still involving other people. So I played one game and then went, that's not right. That's not what I'm here to be doing. So I stopped doing that. I turned off literally everything that had to deal with another person. Now, I love Dark Souls. I could have played Dark Souls alone, like offline or whatever. Decided, no, that's not, like, I do enjoy it sometimes, but it's not like, it's one of my favorite games, but I don't think gaming's a big enough part of my life. Even though it's been most of my life, I don't think that's actually something I enjoy doing on my own. I think I like gaming with other people more than gaming alone. So why do these things if they don't mean anything to you. The most important resource you have that you cannot replenish or change or tweak at all is time. So time is the most important thing to you, right? Why are you doing things with your time that don't mean anything, right? Not that Dark Souls doesn't mean anything to me, but when I play it and I'm not feeling it, but I kind of force myself to just because I'm on Discord and I'm like, oh, I guess Discord means games because that's what my brain has, associated them with. Why do that? I'm not going to do that. Certain things I've been led in my life by quote unquote logic, but a lot of the time you have to go, yeah, but is that emotionally justified by you doing this? It's like, yes, this is something you enjoy doing, but is it making you feel better? Or is it, putting it at its base level, right? No. Most of the time, the answer for me is no. I just want to be doing things that I enjoy doing. Oddly enough, I really like and enjoy working with a team at a job, right? I also like being creative with people. So something like this, where I'm just talking by myself into a microphone, I feel like I need this as like a therapeutic thing. So it's like this podcast is not going anywhere, even though it did go somewhere for a month. But even me jumping back into this is great. I love this. It's just a wonderful time. I have to find good times to record though, because I don't think anybody's home right now. But even if they are, I don't know. Here, let me go into some of my notes because I feel like I'm getting off track a little bit. Most of my life has been interacting with others and never looking to what makes me happy as an individual. Yeah, I never knew what that could like feel like until recently, to really explore your own thoughts and feelings, like actually delve into them. Like I said, like the dating yourself thing, I think helps a lot. That's like one method, right, that I've used that works. Yeah, the important thing is to be honest. If you're lying to yourself on what makes you happy, then the exercise is just null and void. And really, it's easy. Like if you are somebody who is surrounded by other people all the time, and that's where your input and output comes from, is this group of people, take yourself out of it for like a day. Like if that's what it is all the time, just be like, hey, on this day, I can't be contacted, or this is not a time to, obviously, unless it's like an emergency or some shit, but it really is. It's like, trust me on this. It's really easy because nobody else is around. Nobody's judging you. You're not, it's just you. It's just you. Just be honest with yourself. You could do whatever you want. I mean, be safe about it, but like you could do whatever you want. Because yeah, I had like a glass of whiskey and I was just kind of hanging out. Like, yeah, great. Because I'm like, do I actually enjoy this? Like I was contemplating every little thing, or contemplating maybe isn't the right word, but like seeing if the things that I've been doing, do I actually enjoy, or was this more of a social thing or a peer pressure kind of thing, I guess. I know when I say it out loud, I was like, I guess that's what it is. And when you really sit down and just kind of think about it and you like do these things, like it's a good time to reflect on what makes you you. What do you like? What do you not like? Solidify yourself as a person. Because especially, I don't know, for me, it's like there's a lot of input and output that's like that I'm constantly thinking about with somebody else's point of view, and I'm never looking at it really at mine, because I'm so, even like in the beginning, right, or what I was talking about with a Podcomic, telling stories and having all the different points of view and perspectives, that's great, but every now and again you need to come back home and look from the inside out, and I don't do that a lot. So it's kind of coming from, well, what do you think? What are your opinions? What is it that makes you special to yourself? And that should be everything. Like every single thought that you have, you should think about again, like rethink something that you have said or thought or whatever. Even if it's a gut reaction to something, try and stop yourself for a second and like really reevaluate that. And it could be correct. The gut reaction, the whatever thought you have, that could be correct for you. That might be like, no, that feels right. Yeah, sure. And if something feels bad, or if it feels like slightly awkward, or like I even had a conversation with somebody recently, I'll just say, it was just a matter of like, should we, shouldn't we? And I was like, nah, it feels bad. So no, like it's just, if something just feels even like a little bad, and I'm not saying to always say no to those things. It's kind of per situation. But if it feels bad, explore why it feels bad. And if it's bad enough, then don't do it. Like if it's just bad enough for your threshold, then don't do it. Now that is to say, contradict those thoughts sometimes. And if it's something you can do and are interested in, but it feels like awkward, or you don't feel like you would be the best for that situation, then I'd argue to try it, because it's going to get you out of your comfort zone and make you grow as a person. But if it's something that's just really inconvenient that like you don't have to do. And it's like, it would just be more of a net loss than a gain. It's like, well, then that's kind of up to you. It's like, do you not want to then? Then don't do it. There's so much that these thoughts apply to in contradictory ways that it's just kind of take every moment as its own thing and try and evaluate it to the best outcome is pretty much what I'm saying. Take your thoughts in a different direction. And again, I feel like I have to remind myself and anybody listening that this podcast is more of a me talking to myself. So if it sounds like I'm commanding you, whoever's listening, that's not what I'm saying. This is more of me talking to me, leaving myself notes to hear back when I'm editing and things like that, just to kind of be like, hey, do these things. Because I think there's something here with this podcast. I don't know. I feel good about it. So I'm going to keep doing it. But yeah, just really take the time to think things over. And I feel like I've missed way too much life just because I've thought myself as somebody who can't when I'm very much somebody who can in most scenarios. I was like, oh, I'm not a social butterfly. I can't do this. And then I ended up going to a job where it was very team heavy that I've never been before and started to really just express myself a little bit more. And everybody pretty much liked me. And that was crazy to me because I was a super shy kid. I'm still pretty introverted and step away from most social situations that I can. I'm trying to work on that social stuff. But the important thing is like, oh, hold on. Because my brother does this stuff of like, he'll just be able to go out to like a concert or like these big social events. And he goes out and just like wears his heart on his sleeve and just goes out and like tells people amazing things. Like, I don't know. It's incredible how he does these things because I cannot fathom doing what he does. And yeah, I'm screaming into the internet, be better people. But his is very much so like face to face. Like he will tell you like the most amazing things about people. Like granted, he still makes fun of people. Like me and him go back and forth and we could probably have a comedy podcast just on our own. Just me and him. Unfortunately, he has like basically has zero interest in doing that, but that's fine. I'll get him on here at some point. And I just think I'm like, we have the same parents and this kid is out there doing these things. Why can't I do that? And there's no reason why I can't. It's just I've bottled up my emotions for so long that it's so hard to just kind of say what I'm feeling in a socially acceptable way. I feel like it's I think about it way too hard. Like if I were to just say what I'm thinking, I know it's not the worst thing ever. It's probably fine. Like whatever I'm going to say is probably just fine. So it's kind of taking those moments and running with them. So I'm going to end it there. I don't think the past time or two I've mentioned, I think there was one Podcomic where I wasn't listening to the Fine Constant, but I'm going to still say that, of course, me listening to the Fine Constant is my easy way of doing this podcast because they are just very inspiring to me with their music. So The Fine Constant by Sarah Longfield. Well, on her channel, Sarah Longfield. The album Woven in Light. So good. It's just nice. It's really nice, like progressive background music. I love this thing. Anyway, so I'm going to head out. Everybody be happy, be healthy, drink plenty of water. I need to get more of it and make good decisions. Okay. So real quick before I get out. Again, Mitchell from the future. Hello. As soon as I finished recording, I got the email that we were approved on Apple. So Apple Podcasts, or iTunes or whatever, wherever you get that podcast. I don't use iTunes. So we're on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, wherever that is. So that's exciting. Awesome. So I will see more people there, I guess. All right. That's it. That's the end. That's the end of the podcast. You can turn off. You can turn it off now. That's it. That's it. It's done. Turn it off. I just had that good news. Turn it off. Just gonna sit here in silence. We're on iTunes.